like fantasy sports? Yeah.
And sarcasm.
What's up, Gray? I am B-Don. That's Gray Albright, the fantasy master Lothario, the spectacled wonder. How's it going over there, Gray?
Good man. I went to the doctor today, and I got a post nasal drip from the Santa Ana winds. And actually, as I say that out loud, I don't think I've ever sounded more Jewy. But besides that, hey, can I get a lox on that bagel? Besides that, I'm feeling good. I'm taking, actually, you know what I was thinking, because my doc was like, you should take some steroids for your postnasal drip. And I was like, well, then I guess I'm going to draft myself. Hello. What's up, Homer? Call me Homer Albright. I was thinking maybe Jerickson Profar had a postnasal drip.
Oh, who knows? Who knows what he had, Gray? But he's done for a year and maybe forever at this point.
I don't know. This might have actually been before your time, but in bookstores, not that bookstores were before your time. They might have been before your time, but not that. So in bookstores, they used to have books, and that should be the period on the end of that sentence. In bookstores, they had books. Now, anyway, they had these books where they listed every player's home address. I don't know if you remember these. Do you remember these books?
Yeah, I remember, yellow pages, white pages, if that's what you're asking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, they actually sold books. I think they sold them for like celebrities too, because I would write to players for their autograph. Like, I had a book where they had their home addresses, and I would literally sit down, and during the winter, I would write to each player. I would write a note and say, "Can I get your autograph?" And then at the end, I would sign, "And may the future be as bright as the sun."
No, my bookstores didn't sell sporting star maps, Gray. I don't remember that.
Anyway, long story short is, I could write Jerickson Profar a letter, maybe. And be like, "Hey, man, have you tried the postnasal drip excuse? Because,
my doctor's saying I need it. You maybe use it, maybe not."
It's actually very interesting. It's actually very interesting. My doctor prescribed steroids for my postnasal drip, and he also prescribed Jose Canseco to come to my house and to inject it into my butt.
I think Jose Canseco would actually do that, Gray, if he recalls.
No, it's really cool. Like, I went to CVS and they were like, "Well, here's your steroids, and here's Jose." Awesome.
He's like, "Oh, I remember you.
That was cool."
Didn't I hang up on you one time?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I recognize your voice.
You look like you sound like somebody who wear a pink fedora.
Oh man. All right.
All right, great. I was going to talk about my Razzball team and Razzslam team and how weird it is, but let's just get into it. We got a lot of names. We're just going to talk about guys who we think are interesting after 200 for us. And before we get into that, how do you go about drafting the end of your drafts? 12-team leagues, 15-team leagues. What are you looking for? What's your attack plan there?
Yeah, so I was like, I said to B-Don over the weekend, I was like, why don't we do this podcast? Why don't we do targets after pick 200? And he was like, "You have any in mind?" And I missed that text. I ignored that text.
Missed that text. Yes.
Missed. Well, it's more of an audio medium, so you can't see me doing finger quotes, but I missed that text. And then I was like, "Oh, my bad. Let me check what you have on Monday." So I checked, and you have so many. I mean, we have so many guys to go through after pick 200. So, I mean, that I say that because I feel like every draft, like there's different, like there is so many guys after pick 200, and we have a lot to talk about. And I say that because I think every draft is different, and it depends on what you need when you get to pick 200. So I won't go on much longer than that to say I don't really have like a set guy. I look at a bunch of guys. Like sometimes I want an upside starter. Sometimes I want an upside middle infielder. Sometimes I need a reliever who could potentially get saved. Like it's all over the map, really, for what I'm looking at after 200. But there's a lot of guys.
Yeah, and I think just taking a mix of stuff is important as well. Even if you think you're set at one position or one category, an injury changes things. Half of your lineup isn't going to be on your roster at the end of the year, maybe more than half your lineup. So just there's also a part of taking guys you believe in or just that have the talent that you think they can become something. So yeah, it's a mix. Let's get into that mix, Gray. Let's start with prospects and upside plays here. Obviously, that is the most fun place to gamble after 200. And it's going to be guys we haven't talked about yet. I think we talked about most of the guys that are a little bit higher up on the, rookie scale last week, or when we talked about all the prospects, at least the ones that are performing well. But let's talk about a few more, starting with Connolly Early. He has an ADP of 280. Not sure he has a rotation spot, so that's definitely affecting his ADP at this point. But he has looked good at every stop along the way, Gray.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, Connolly Early, whatchamacallit, Red Sox prospect. He is probably a guy who I feel like, because right now the Red Sox are looking at Johan Oviedo and then they have Sonny Gray and Bello and Bayo. It's actually Bayo. And then they have Ranger Suarez and Crochet. I'll leave off of there because even though I just mentioned them, but they're locked in. And Sonny Gray has injury history. Bayo has been good, but I mean not for peripheral wise, but I mean he's been more or less healthy, and he's been out there. Oviedo, I think, is the first guy. Bayo's actually been fairly healthy his career. 30 starts more or less for last 3 years. But Oviedo, I think, is really the wild card. So they have also Peyton Toll in the minors. So it's going to be between, I think, Toll and Early. I think Early probably is after Toll, I would say, but better than Toll, I think. I don't mind Toll either as a late flyer, but I think Early is probably after Toll. I think Toll gets the first shot. So there's going to be, I would say there's likely to be a little bit of, there's always movement. You can't anticipate every injury and everything, but I do think they're probably on the outside of the rotation looking in to start the year. Early looks like a beast. Like he's going. You're saying ADP's 289, 280-ish. I've seen him. It's like in that range. It's also like some people grab him like at 220. Other people, he might fall to 320. So it's hard to say exactly what the ADP is. But 280 is a good spot for a flyer in a 15-team mixed league. I don't think he's on my 12-team radars yet. I mean, once he gets called up, or once there's rumblings that he'll be called up, I think he's definitely going to be on there. But I don't see him breaking camp because, they traded for Oviedo and the other guys, and Sonny Gray is obviously locked in. All the guys are locked into the rotation. Like there's not really like that many iffy ones outside of Oviedo, and I feel like he gets at least a fair bit of he gets April at least to show what he can do. And I actually kind of like Oviedo too as well. So yeah, I guess I'm rambling a little bit, but I like Early. I just don't see the innings necessarily.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. If you have an IL spot, or if you have deep rosters, deep benches, absolutely grab him. Like you said, he looks great. The velocity is actually up 1.5 miles this spring, up to 95. That is amazing to see from a guy who's already dominating down at like 93 and a half averaging velocity. So that's, everything looks good on Early. He just doesn't really have a spot to play right now. Moving over to Cleveland grade, Travis Bazzana, he's much later in ADP, going at 470, and actually the average pick has been 626 over the last week. But like you said, that's really weird in regards to ADP. It's kind of league dependent, and he's going to go earlier, and then he's just not going to get drafted in some. Has flown through the minors, but more of a sum of the parts guy than a category dominator. Do you think he has a job out of spring training, and is he worth a late round flyer in deeper leagues?
No, I don't really see it. I mean, I'd be shocked if he breaks camp. And on top of that, I'd also kind of be shocked if he is an out of the gate difference maker for teams, like for leagues shallower than 15, I'll say. I'd be really shocked. Like even like if he gets called up or if he breaks camp, I would say pick him up in every league. And I think probably in 10 and 12 team leagues, I think he's probably iffy this season, even if he were to break camp. So I like him, but I think I kind of want to see more. Like you mentioned, he's more of a category filler. I mean, he's probably, Jackson Holiday 2 years ago or last year, like probably 2 years ago. Like there's still so much to see from him, I think. So I'm not really that excited.
Yeah, and even that, Jackson Holiday was ripping the minors to pieces, and we haven't even seen that really from Bazzana. So I'm with you. I think it's kind of a very deep league dynasty style of play for now. I think he's going to be a useful, major leaguer. I just don't think it's something that's going to be a standout in shallow leagues right away, like you said. Somebody who I do think could be a potential difference maker this year and should have a job, which is new in this category for us, is Moises Ballesteros. He has an ADP of 391. Should be the opening day DH for the Cubs. And, it feels like the Cubs kind of give you a little bit of information that they traded, the guy we're going to talk about next, and Owen Casey, instead of Ballesteros, given that they were both probably going to be DH this season regardless. Ballesteros has looked good. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm two thoughts. I feel like I'm a little bit underwhelmed so far by what we've seen from him in the minors, but I mean, I don't feel like it's just like if he had catcher eligibility, and maybe he will get it at some point, like I'd be a little bit more interested. But if he's taking me out of the equation, even like say steamer projections, 21 homers, 1 steal, 265 average in your utility spot. It's okay. I mean, and then my second thing on him is I'm kind of surprised more. I mean, I'm saying the opposite, I guess, kind of, but I'm kind of surprised more people aren't excited about him, even though maybe they're seeing what I'm seeing. But I'm surprised that he's going that late. Like he feels like a guy who should be going close to 250 overall, and like you mentioned, the ADP at like 400. It's like I'm surprised he's going that late. Maybe people are worried about platoon because he's a lefty and the utility only thing possibly, but yeah, I don't know. But I'm not like insanely excited about him.
Yeah, I like him. I like him in deeper leagues. I really think he's going to be useful in that format. But you're right. In a shallow league with util only, there's probably not a whole lot of need for him. But that's again why he's going later. But he does have a great hit tool. I just don't know if we've seen the power from him to make him useful in a normal
You
shallow
know what
league.
I'll say this. Sorry, not to interrupt, but I'll be like, I would compare him to like Jake Berger in some ways, and Jake Berger is going like 150 picks before him. Like I don't
Yeah.
necessarily love Jake Berger, but I mean Moises Ballesteros is kind of like, I mean they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you in regards to the value. I mean, maybe if he had any eligibility whatsoever, it would help. So I think in Yahoo he probably has eligibility somewhere. I'm assuming, and so that would be helpful. But for most leagues, it's going to be DH util only.
He's a top 3 catcher in Yahoo.
Oh, I mean, and if he's catcher eligible, that's amazing. I think it probably takes an injury to like Carson Kelly for the Cubs to really put him back there. They have him and Amaya. I guess they could just cut Amaya if they feel okay with Ballesteros catching, but they didn't let him catch last year. It feels like they don't really want him to catch if they don't have to.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Over to Owen Casey, who is over with Miami after the Edward Cabrera trade. He should also have a spot in the opening day lineup, although he's projected to hit at the bottom. But with Miami's lineup, that could change pretty quickly, given that only like the top 3 spots are locked in. The few spring training games have not been impressive, but he's been performing very well in the WBC grade.
Yeah, no, he's actually, I mean, I think he's probably opened some eyes in the WBC, and I think he's probably opening the wrong eyes. I would guess. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, he looks like Flop City when you look at his like strikeouts. Like he looks like I'll be honest, I'm not in on Owen Casey really in any leagues other than like as a flyer in like a deep league. But he's probably moving up at people's radars because of what he's doing in the WBC. And I don't know, man. I feel like you may not want to open those eyes. Those eyes should be shut on Owen Casey, I think. He looks like he could hit 215 maybe in the majors. Like I'm kind of interested to see if he can keep his strikeout rate below 40%, because if he can't, I mean, I know it's a small sample size last year when his strikeout rate was over 40%. It's only in 12 games, but it's like in spring training, he was making no contact. Then he went to the WBC, and I don't know what he's facing there. I mean, what's he facing? Australian pitchers that are 35 years old and washed out. I don't even know who's Owen Casey facing. I don't know. I know he's hitting homers. Was he facing Brazil? Who was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember who that was against, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I don't either. But anyway, it doesn't matter really, because I feel like even if it's against Skubal, it's not. But I mean, well,
it was Colombia.
Oh, it was Colombia, right? So who is he facing? Julio Teheran? By the way, Teheran retired just to avoid any confusion with the Iran war. He's like, you know what? I'm going to retire. No, Owen Casey, like facing Colombia's pitchers, I don't know, man. And not to mention, I mean, it's still March, so I just ignore the spring training, ignore the WBC, other than watch it for fun, but don't get all like, oh my God, Ozzie Albies is going to be a 30 homer guy now, and Owen Casey's going to hit 40, and it's like, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think I like Owen Casey a little bit more, and I think we talked about it when we went over him in positional rankings. But he just seems like, I know the strikeout rate is high, but he seems like a professional hitter. Just feels like he belongs out there, and he just hits the ball really hard when he does make contact. It could be a little 3-2 outcome like with him, but we'll see. I'm with you that he doesn't really belong in 10 team leagues or even 12 team leagues, but there's worse shots that you can take in a 15-team league.
Yeah, that's fair.
Somebody I would take before I would take Owen Casey is Carson Benj, who has an ADP of 317, and he should be in the opening day lineup. But there's also a possibility he gets pushed out. Just it's the Mets. Who knows? He is hitting 350 in 7 games in spring training, so helping himself out a little bit. What is your thoughts here on Carson Benj?
So he similar, kind of similar to what I was saying for Ballesteros, whereas I'm kind of surprised that Benj is going so late. I kind of felt like he would be going a little bit earlier if he was projected to be in the open day lineup. And I mean, right now it looks like he is going to be in the lineup. So I don't know. I'm a little surprised he's going that late, and he has outfield eligibility, which I'm a lot more, forgiving on. I like him for a 15-team mixed, and I think depending on if he's hitting, so right now he's probably going to be hitting at the bottom of the Mets lineup, which is kind of gross to hit it. Hitting ninth is tough for any 12-team. If you're in a 12-team mixed league and guy is hitting ninth, it's hard to hold that guy. Outside of maybe a Chandler Simpson, because he's going to give you 120 steals, or it depends on which guy it is. But in a 12-team mixed league, if a guy's hitting ninth, it's not great. So if Carson Benj is hitting ninth, that is not good. But I do like him. I personally would. I mean, the Mets lineup is actually not that bad. All jokes
on paper.
On paper, right? Yeah.
On paper.
By mid-April, Polanco will be down with an injury. Bichette.
Polanco's gonna be hurt. Bichette's gonna be hurt. Simeon's gonna, be terrible because he's been terrible.
Yeah.
But Beatty will definitely be hurt.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So all that aside,
Mark Vientos is gonna be hurt. Ronnie Mauricio will be hurt.
Lindor's already hurt. No, I get you.
The entire pitching staff will be down.
Yeah, right, exactly. Really, Juan Soto and Carson Benj. So, I mean, and Tyrone Taylor. Is Tyrone Taylor still there? They love Tyrone.
Yes, I believe he's still there.
Yeah, they love him. So, Carson Benj, 15 homers, 22 steals, 281 in the minors last year as a 22-year-old. The projections won't tell you he's good because projections just don't like rookies. But I mean, if he can go anywhere close to that in the major leagues, that's a solid 15-team mixed league guy, even hitting ninth.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even without the counting numbers, if he can go, and like I said, it was 116 games, those numbers 15, 22. So if he just goes 15, 22 in the majors across the full season, I mean, that'd be solid enough to roster for sure. Colton Cowser, not necessarily a prospect, but somebody down here that this still has massive upside, and I feel like there's still at least hope that he puts it together, Gray. At least I have hope. What are your thoughts here on Colton Cowser? Obviously, he had a sub-200 average last year, which is just unbelievable that he even got 93 games with that, but still hit 16 home runs and stole 14 bases over that time.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed up what I was going to say. If he can find some contact, he could be interesting. But I mean, last year is pretty worrisome because it wasn't a small sample size, like you mentioned, and to strike out 35.6% of the time and hit 196 across 92 games, that's bad. So, I mean, I like the flyer. I wish he was, right now ADP 250-ish. I wish he was going a little bit later than that. But I would take the flyer. Sure. As a, that's a fifth outfielder. I could even see fifth outfielder in a 12-team mixed league take that flyer on Colton Cowser. Yeah.
Yeah, he has that level of upside, Gray. If he just hits 240 and gets full-time playing time, that's going to be an amazing season. Let's talk about some category fillers, Gray, because it may just be about needs at this point, and you may be needing to fill categories here. Let's start with stolen bases. Dalen Lyle's a guy I picked out. We're cheating a little bit, going right after 200 at ADP of 202. 91 games last year and 9 home runs, 8 stolen bases. He hit 299. He is 47th in sprint speed, so the 8 stolen bases seems very low for what he's capable of. What's your thoughts on Dalen Lyle?
I like him a lot. Actually, I wrote a sleeper post for him. I'm a big fan. I think I have him probably a good 50 picks before that. Maybe I have him ranked pretty high, so I'm all in. He makes great contact. Well, I mean, he doesn't strike out a lot. It's like the hard hit is around 31%, which is fine. And for him, it's fine because he has good speed. So he could hit 280, going to have like 10 to 15 homers, possibly 25 steals because the Nationals are doing nothing. He's going to hit in the middle of that lineup and the good average that I mentioned. So, yeah, I'm all in on Dalen Lyle.
Yeah, I like him too. And if they let him run, I think he can still 30 plus. If they just let him go, he's fast enough to do that. Mason Wynn has an ADP of 287, and he also has enough speed to make 30 steals happen. Last year, 129 games, he had 9 home runs, 9 stolen bases, hit 253. Sub 20% K rate guy. There might have been like a little bit Major League 2 and like the launch angle got too high, and he just doesn't have the power for that. But if we can get him putting the ball on the ground, Gray, Mason Wynn could be interesting.
So you're saying Willie Mason Wynn Mays.
Exactly.
I actually this weekend I did the labor draft, which is a 12-team mixed league. I drafted Kevin McGonigal. McGonigal. I don't. You know what? You guys know what I'm saying. I drafted him, and I plan on, if he gets sent down, which I expect, I plan on putting him on my bench. And then I took Mason Wynn in the free rounds of 12-team mixed league. I don't think it's the worst flyer. We'll see what happens. I liked him going into last year. I wrote a sleeper post on him, so I did like him a ton last year. That didn't really work out, but he does have some speed. He's got a little bit of power. He makes a lot of contact, not the best of contact necessarily, but he makes a lot of it. A 26% hard hit. So not great contact, but it's a lot. You're right. Maybe the launch angle got too high and, maybe he can figure that out. I'm fine with the Mason Wynn flyer. ADP around 300. Sure. It's fine.
Yeah. I think it is a flyer. If he doesn't get going off the bat, you drop him, grab, somebody that does, but it's not a bad flyer. And there's definitely a little bit to say he might have gotten a little unlucky last year as well. Let's talk about just the favorite place to go for these late round guys, and that is Colorado. We could have put a bunch of guys here, but Jordan Beck, I don't think we've spent a lot of time on him. ADP of 228. Last year had 16 home runs, 19 stolen bases, hit 258. The K rate's a little high. The home road is bad, as is everybody who plays in Coors, but I like Jordan Beck for the cost he's going at.
I've actually drafted Jordan Beck, I think 3 or 4 times. I'm a victim of the war room at times. And Rudy's war room loves
Jordan Beck. They also love Nolan Jones. So
yeah, they love Rockies hitters. No, there's no doubt about that. If you would have told me if Jordan Beck last year hit 16 homers, stole 19 bags, and hit 258, I would have been like, wow, that's valuable. I didn't even realize Jordan Beck was that valuable last year. If he can just repeat that, it's not the most exciting line, but as a 5th outfielder, sure, it's fine. I don't mind. I don't mind. I've drafted him a few times, but I don't think there's any real upside here. I think he's just like, he's kind of a solid 5th outfielder who could be more valuable than you expect, just because of playing every day and getting runs and RBIs and being a 5 category guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the benefit might be if you just get better than terrible on the road. That might be a little bit of the improvement, but that's really hard for Rockies players. It's a big adjustment to make playing at course than going on the road. So not expecting that. But like I said, if he just does what he did last year, that's very useful. Victor Scott II has an ADP over 300 in 138 games last year. He had 5 home runs, 34 stolen bases, and hit 216. There's a better than zero chance he's quad A, but second in sprint speed last year. After 300, there's worse, things to bet on than just straight speed.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just looked at while you're saying that, I was looking at his hard hit percentage, and I want to say that the Cardinals front office maybe needs to start looking at hard hit percentage
just across the board a little bit
for every player, because man, Victor Scott II, I didn't even know they made hard hit percentages that low. 19.7% hard hit. That's bad. So yeah, but as a steals only guy, sure. Sagnoff, go for it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that he has even 5 home runs. Really,
Yeah.
that's pretty ridiculous. That with his batted ball, he even has 5. So good for him, Gray, that he has that in him to randomly pull a home run out of the park.
Yeah, right. I mean, he should be like basically Juan Pierre, but yeah, he's Juan Pierre might have had 5 homers his whole career. So yeah.
Let's move over, Gray. Another speedster. Obviously, that's the category we're in. And he's going even later at ADP of 372, and that is Jake Mangum. 118 games, 3 home runs, 27 stolen bases. He hit 296 last year, 55th in sprint speed. The girls all love the Mangum, Gray.
I haven't really been in on this guy. I feel like he's a victim of early ADP, I think, a bit, because like in the draft room, at least on NFBC, like he's higher on the draft room than I think he should be, because he had a full-time job and then he got traded to the Pirates, and now it doesn't look like he has a full-time job. So, I mean, at best, he's going to get 350 plate appearances maybe. So, I mean, that gives you like 2 to 3 homers and 20 steals. I mean, he could hit for a decent average. Like if someone goes down with an injury and he gets put in the lineup, I'll be shouting, you should pick him up. But in drafts right now, I don't know. Unless it's a draft and hold. Draft and hold, sure, because eventually he could become interesting. But for right now, he's not very interesting.
Yeah, in a normal league, you're not really drafting him, but like you said, draft and hold, 15 team. He's a nice late speed option who's not going to kill you in average at least. And one more in the speed category, going at 378 ADP, Nasim Nunez. He had 39 games last year. He had 4 home runs, 9 stolen bases, hit 232. He was 12th in sprint speed, which is pretty crazy to do in only 39 games, to be honest. Everything, he's okay K-rate. It's not great. He can take a walk, though. Average is probably not going to be good, but he is very fast.
Yeah. No, he was a guy in like, I want to say one of my leagues. I think it was a draft and hold. Yeah. Probably around pick 350, I was going to take him, and then he got taken right before I was about to take him. So, and I was kicking myself for not taking him earlier, because I could have used the speed in a draft and hold. It's nice to have a guy who's like, you just throw him in your lineup, like, maybe over the weekend and get him some steals, and then you could take him out for someone else. But yeah, I don't mind him for a steals play. I like him more than Magnum for a steals play. I like him more than Victor Scott for a steals play. I think he could steal like probably 50 bags. Nasim Nunez has like 50 steal speed. Might hit 220. Isn't going to hit for much power, but if you need steals,
Yeah, I mean, he's stolen 52 in a season. He's stolen 70 in a season. So the speed is definitely there. And yeah, if you're looking at straight speed, there's very few that can match him. I think I got him in our NL only auction. So happy to have him on my roster for that. Let's talk about a different category. Let's move over to the opposite side and talk about guys who can give you the home runs, Gray. Starting at 230 ADP, Kerry Carpenter had 26 home runs in 130 games last year, hit 252. He had his career best average exit velocity and hard hit, and somehow had his lowest home run to fly ball, though. A little too fly ball heavy, I think. But what do you think about Kerry Carpenter?
When you're saying that, I quickly looked up where he was on the player rater last year, because I feel like 230 is a discount, and he on the player rater he was at 183 last year, so you're looking at around a 50 draft pick discount. I'm surprised he's going that late, but I mean, again, it's like, I mean, we've said this so many times, but like in October, they throw together a list. They put it up on the NFBC, that is. They put together, a list to draft from, and then the ADPs move guys a little bit, but you can only move, like if a guy is ranked at like 240 in October, you can only move them up so much because, people are like, well, I can wait 3 rounds, and people do. So, I like Kerry Carpenter, though. I think he's probably closer to like a 200 overall guy. So you're looking at a decent discount, but you do have to platoon him. So, you got to take him out against lefties.
Yeah, you have to do a little bit of research, but he's very solid in what he gives you. I actually grabbed him as my 5th outfielder in the TGFBI. So, I mean, I'm happy to take him at that ADP. And like you said, it seems like a little bit of a discount. And I feel like a lot of the guys we're talking about here, because we do like most of these guys, like the ADP feels a little bit high because we do like them. And when you get to this point in the draft, I know that, yes, you do have to fill utility guys. You have to get innings. There's safer guys you have to take along the way. But to some extent, after 200, you can kind of just start grabbing guys you think are going to be good. Because after 200, your hit rate on these players is going to be like 25% if you're really good, and probably closer to like 15 or less. So grab guys you think are going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Kyle Manzardo at ADP of 237. He had 27 home runs, hit 234 in his first season in the majors, Gray. This is another guy where I feel like a rookie comes in, hits 27 home runs. The ADP usually reacts a little bit more to a guy like that, and Manzardo's always kind of been known as a guy who could hit the ball. So I just don't know,
right?
Like, where's the reaction from the ADP this year?
Yeah, actually, I'll throw in the next 2 guys. So Jake Berger and Giancarlo Stanton are the next 2 guys. They're all basically the same, but yeah. Manzardo has upside, and they're all going within like 5-6 picks of each other. So it's like, do I want, would I want Manzardo, Jake Berger, or Giancarlo Stanton? I mean, I want Manzardo, and you would think that would push his ADP up higher because people would be seeing like, okay, in 2 rounds, Manzardo is going to be taken, so I need to take him now, otherwise I'm going to miss out. And it doesn't seem like it's moving Manzardo up at all. With that said, I like him. I think 27 homers is a rookie baseline. It's nice. It's a nice baseline for a corner man or a utility in any league. And I don't really like the Jake Berger or Giancarlo. I mean, Giancarlo's fine if he's healthy, obviously, but he's not going to stay healthy. And Jake Berger, I'm just kind of like, I don't trust him in Arlington. I'm worried. The park is just so awful. His first year there was so bad. I don't even want to mess with him because, these guys are more in like the corner infielder range. They're not really like last round flyers. Like you want these guys to perform. So out of like Manzardo, Berger, Stanton, I'm taking Manzardo all day.
Yeah. So I would go Manzardo, Stantonberger. It sounds like you're in the same place with me. I'm with you. I don't know that I love Berger in that park. It just did not work out well, and I just don't know where the extra power is going to come from to get him back to. I mean, he was a 29, 30, 20 home runs in Miami. So I guess he could do it in Texas if he can do it in Miami, but it still just doesn't feel right. A guy who, in theory, could join those guys, but just can't stay healthy is Max Muncy. His ADP is 484, so free in just about any depth of league. Gray. Again, this is a guy. He's not that much different from Stanton. Like if they both stay healthy, they're both going to give you well above their ADP's value. Just as Muncy is literally free. His free gets.
Yeah, no, totally. I was like, I don't really want Max Muncy in any leagues, but if he's in the like last rounds, then fine. In a 15-team mixed league or deeper, that's fine for a power play. But I don't really trust him. I was surprised, like in one league, in one league where I'm drafting, he went in like the 14th round. And I was like, I mean, I don't know. They could have waited. They could have waited like 10 rounds. I don't know why. I don't know why the jump to get Max Muncy. It's like who wants Max Muncy at this point in a 15? I mean, even in like it's a weekly league too. So it's like in a weekly league, is he going to play every day? You're going to lose counting stats if he doesn't. He's injured all the time. I mean, his best days are behind him. So, yeah, I'm not really a huge fan. If it was the last round of a 15-team mixed league and like, if it's like, not the last round, but if it's like, at 484 ADP, sure, why not? Whatever. That's just a flyer and a deep draft and hold. But otherwise,
Yeah, I would say I actually don't mind him. I think in the shallower league, the more I might take a shot on him, honestly, because I don't need him in a shallow league. So I'll take his 3 weeks of being healthy, cut him, and then just move on. But yeah, he's 35. You're not going to get the best of his days. And, I'm just going to keep harping on the even odd year, even year Max Muncy, not so great. Not the best of his years. moving on, some guys, Gray. I'm just going to kind of group these guys together just so we can keep it moving and get to more names. And then these are all either we don't believe they're breakout or we're still waiting for the breakout. And that is Trent Grisham, ADP of 242, Jordan Walker, 304, Matt Wallner at 302, and Marcell Ozuna at 312, who may just be done. But what are your thoughts on these four power hitters?
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with Marcell Ozuna at all. I think he is done, and if he's not done, I'm not interested. I can look. I'll be looking elsewhere. Trent Grisham is a guy who I'm kind of surprised is going that late because, I mean, yeah, it was sort of out of the blue last year, but he's also hitting in front of Aaron Judge. So, I mean, even if it's, even if he gets platooned out against lefties, it's still pretty decent. I don't know. I can't imagine hitting in front of Aaron Judge. It's like this. He's either going to hit in front of Aaron Judge and it's going to be great, or he's just going to get moved out of the leadoff spot and then you can drop him in your league. So I feel like Trent Grisham's even like a 12-team mixed league guy, shallower league. Jordan Walker, God bless, but I'm out on that. I don't want any part of Jordan Walker ever again. Actually, if he's good this year, maybe I'll get back in, but I have no. I mean, his ground ball rate or his launch angle. I mean, something's really up with Jordan Walker, unfortunately. And Matt Wallner feels like he's Statcast darling that is just I don't believe is ever going to really amount to like more than what he looks like. The peripherals I think are always going to be better because he's just, for fantasy at least, he's kind of like, yeah, I mean, 27. I mean, what we said for Manzardo, that's like a good year from Wallner, I think. And, Manzardo's already done it.
Yeah, that's fair. I would say I like Walner if you're sitting after 300. Manzardo's going in like the 240 range, so you have to take him a little bit earlier. So if you miss out, you have to kind of pivot to one of these other guys. But I would pivot to Trent Grisham, or I'm still going to buy into Jordan Walker. He says he found something in his swing. They feel like they said that the last 3 years, but I'm just a sucker. He still just absolutely destroys the baseball, Gray. So I'm willing to take the shot. Oh, heaven help me. Let's move on to some counting numbers, Gray. Runs, RBIs, you need them. They can be kind of hard to find at this point. There's a lot more, 7 through 9 in the lineup type guys here. Isaac Paredes is projected to be hitting third in the Astros lineup with an ADP of 221. I really don't understand why he's down this far other than he missed some games last year.
Yeah, it's also, it's Jeremy Pena is saying that he'll be back within a week or two of opening day. So that moves Paredes out of the lineup again. So there's that. But, there's also the Astros saying Kyle Tucker will be back in 3 days, and he missed the next 3 months. And Yordan Alvarez will be back tomorrow, and he missed 8 months. So, there is a chance that Jeremy Pena doesn't return as soon as he's saying. But I do think, like, Carlos Correa is injury prone. Jose Altuve is getting up there. Yordan Alvarez is injury prone. Christian Walker is getting up there in age. I think Paredes is one of those guys. Unfortunately, I haven't drafted him anywhere yet, but I think he's one of those guys who's going to be sneaky valuable. I don't know if right now where he's hitting in the lineup is due to Jeremy Pena, and that's going to change a week into the season, and Paredes is going to be on the bench again. That could happen, but I like Paredes' chances going that late in ADP.
It seems kind of crazy that you would take your 3-hitter and then move him out of your lineup completely. Like, that just seems like such an odd concept to me. I understand you have to find somewhere for him to play, but like Altuve can move to the outfield. I'm sure if you're like Paredes, you can play in the outfield and left field, or it can put you on the bench. I'm sure he'd be like, I can go stand in left field. It's fine. I'll stand against the wall. It's not really much different than playing the infield. Like,
no, I agree. I know I'm with you. I like the Paredes pick a lot. I think people are discounting the at-bats more than they should. I think there's room there. Even if Pena comes back, Correa's injury prone. Like, I went through all the names.
Yeah, we did the
names. There's space. There's room there for Paredes.
There definitely is, and their pitching staff may end up needing some help too. So I could also see Paredes getting shipped again out for some pitching.
Well,
I got
hopefully he goes somewhere he can hit, because he can only pull the balls. hopefully he goes somewhere. Like, if he goes to Fenway, he's going to be a 340 hitter.
Oh, he'll be phenomenal at Fenway. It'll be great, Gray. I can't wait for that to happen. Talking about Fenway, Wilyer Abreu at an ADP of 211. 115 games last year, 22 home runs, 6 stolen bases. He had 247, projected 5th in the lineup. This is another one where it just doesn't really – I don't really understand. Like, it's not an overly exciting profile, so maybe that's why the ADP drops. But, he's also 26. There's still potential for a little bit more of everything here. I will take Wilyer Abreu as my 5th outfielder all day.
Yeah, I was I think frequent commenter Oaktown Steve was on the Wilyer Abreu train pretty early, and I've been convinced. I mean, where he's going, if you need a 5th outfielder, you can do worse than Wilyer Abreu. It's a lot to do with the ADP. It's not, I don't necessarily love him for. I wouldn't push him up a lot in my ADP. I wouldn't push him up in my ranks, but I do think where he's going, like, they love the glove. Like, he's gonna play defense. They like him out there in right. He's gonna be valuable. He'll be more valuable than his ADP.
Yeah, I agree. It's really ADP. I don't expect a lot of growth from him, but it was only 115 games, so you can add a few more of everything onto his numbers. That makes him, it makes it look a lot nicer. Ezekiel Tovar with an ADP of 205. I think we talked about it in the shortstop podcast. I don't understand. He's projected as a two hitter. He's going to be in the top three of that lineup almost regardless of what happens. Like this feels like a big adjustment from just him being injured.
Yeah, no, this is free money in drafts. Ezekiel Tovar is going to be way more valuable than where he's going.
Yeah, absolutely. And a teammate of his, Mickey Moniak, ADP of 236, 24 home runs, 9 stolen bases. He had 270 last year in 135 games. Average bat speed and fast swing rate were both up from the previous seasons. It's Mickey Moniak. There's a possibility that he fills the Nolan Jones role instead of Jordan Beck. But, if he does what he did last year, this, again, feels so cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, completely. It's pretty much, it's like Mickey Moniak or Jordan Beck has been like my sort of, I feel like not only me, but a lot of people, because they're going like real close to each other in drafts. And I've gone Jordan Beck in NFBC because it's bi-weekly and I didn't want to deal with the platoon situation. And Moniak is probably going to come out against lefties. So it's like, for me, Jordan Beck's a little bit better than Mickey Moniak, but Moniak had a good season last year. In Coors, I don't see any reason why not to draft him as a fifth outfielder.
Yep, I agree. You have to kind of pick which one of these guys you want and which category fillers you need, but absolutely, I like all these guys. Colson Montgomery, ADP of 231, 21 home runs. He had 239 last year. Better home run to fly ball than he had in the minors. He would have been a top 40 in max exit velocity if he had qualified. He swings swings the bat pretty much in line with Aaron Judge as far as bat speed and fast swing rate. When he hits it, it goes a long way, Greg.
Yeah, no, completely. It's going to be interesting to see where he's going next year. It's going to be because I feel like he's either getting wildly discounted this year because he was one of the biggest home run hitters in the second half last year and didn't really tank your average. And this year he's going as if it's he's definitely going to hit 190, and last year was a fluke. And according to his hard hit, last year wasn't a fluke. I like Colson Montgomery. I think he's going to be going a good 100 picks higher next year. I see big things from him.
Yeah, he's either going 100 picks higher or he's not getting drafted next year because he couldn't put the bat on the ball. So, yeah, you're going to know pretty quickly, I feel like, within the first 3 weeks, month, whether he can or cannot hit for a full season. Trevor Larnach, ADP of 440. He's projected hit cleanup. Why he's projected to be there, or I don't know. I can't tell you, but he is projected to be a cleanup. And by the way, Colson Montgomery is projected to be the 3-hitter for the White Sox. Trevor Larnach, there's nothing in the profile that's exciting, Gray. It is just he's going to give you just a little bit across the board. But he should give you counting numbers.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Trevor Larnach. Fine, if you need runs and RBIs, okay, I guess it's fine. But and he's also, his ADP is 450 overall. So what's the worst that could happen? It's basically a bench flyer in a draft and hold. So sure, but I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, it's really just there. Once you get past 400, there's really nobody that's going to give you a cleanup position. I know it's a bad lineup, but that's what's available at that point. So if you're looking for it down there, there's somebody. There's not a whole lot of average guys, and the ones who are down here are pretty much only average guys. But Luis Arraez, Alec Baum, and Brendan Donovan all going in the 240 to 280 range. Just kind of take your pick, right?
Yeah, so one guy that I don't think we mentioned, Brandon Donovan, his exit opened up the door for Nolan Gorman. Not for average, obviously, but for power. I've been, because I thought of it because I've been looking at Brandon Donovan and Nolan Gorman in the same round, and I've been debating the two, and I've gone Nolan Gorman, I think, every time because Brandon Donovan probably is fine in Seattle, but I don't know because all he's going to give you is average. So if he's not fine in Seattle, or he's going to give runs too, I guess. But if he's not fine in Seattle and he struggles at all, like a 260 hitting Brandon Donovan is really tough to own. Like last year he hit 287, which made it go down a little bit easier, but still his power is really weak. He has no speed. So I've ignored Brandon Donovan for Nolan Gorman, but that was going for power. So anyway, with that said, Luis Arise is probably the king of empty average. If you really need it, go for it. Alec Baum, I don't love getting these average guys because, like, in theory, you're looking on draft day and you're like, okay, I'm hurting for average. I'm going to draft Luis Arise. And then you get like a couple weeks into the season, you're like, my corner man has like 0 homers and is going 2 for 4. What is this? This is awful. This is terrible. I could just pick up a guy because when you start going week by week, or even in a daily league, you start getting to the point where it's like a guy on waivers who is hitting hot is better than Luis Arise. From week to week, you could just shuffle through players off of waivers in most leagues and be better than Luis Arise. If a guy hits 400 for the week and hits 3 homers, it's better than Luis Arise. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of these average guys, to be honest. And like I said, Brandon Donovan actually worries me a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely possible that Seattle kind of makes him irrelevant as a fantasy baseball player because, like you said, if he's 265 with 7 home runs and 2 stolen bases, that's I don't have to tell anybody listening, that's pretty bad. Nolan Gorman, I do worry that he's even going to stay in the majors. Just like, how long can you stay in the majors and hit 200 in a sub 300 OBP, and on top of that, be really, really bad at defense? Like,
this is the year.
How many years can you just continue to have that profile and get away? Like, you were already at second base. There is nowhere to put you. Your bat is awful. We can't put you at DH. We can't do it. So, like, I am worried about Nolan Gorman even making it through the season.
I don't love Nolan Gorman. I'm saying Nolan Gorman after like 300 overall. That's all. I'm not endorsing Nolan Gorman for 12 team mixed leagues and shallower. It's Nolan Gorman's a late play in a 15 team or deeper league for potentially for power, and I like that more than I like the play for average. That's
the average. I feel like I'm probably the opposite. I get a little more boring at the end of drafts sometimes. Like, oh, look, Brendan Donovan can hit me 285 and get me 60-60 on the runs and RBIs. Okay, I can deal with that. But I get it. Like, if you're chasing it, if you're especially in a shallower league, there's no reason to take really any of these guys because there's better replacement level players out there. This is probably just more deeper leagues and best balls, draft and holds, those kind of things. In points leagues, these guys are interesting because, not striking out and getting on base actually matters in those.
Yeah.
Let's move over to pitching, Gray. A few guys that we like here. I like Zebby Matthews. He's going at an ADP of 284. Velocity was up last year. He called up in May. He was hurt in June. So the ERA whip is bad, but all the underlying numbers say he was unlucky. The stuff is good. The velocity's up. Like I like Zebby Matthews as a flyer late in drafts.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I'm a little bit concerned about whether or not he's actually got a rotation spot. If that doesn't matter, another guy who's actually getting a lot of looks in spring training, who has possibly replaced him in the rotation, is Mick Abel, and he's been a spring training darling so far, we'll say. Him and Ryan Weathers. I don't think much of Mick Abel either, but I mean, as a flyer, sure, whatever. Zebby Matthews is interesting. Probably he needs a rotation spot for me to be, completely behind him. Unless it's a draft and hold, then, sure, fine. But I think his ADP is actually a little bit high. If he's an 8th or 9th starter for my 15-team mixed league, I'm probably not in on Zebby Matthews. But if it's a 12-team mixed league and it's your last starter, it's just you take a flyer on him in the last round, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know that Tosh Bradley's getting the spot. He's been just straight up awful pretty much every time he comes up to the majors, Gray. Yeah, that's where I kind of feel like Zebby Matthews is going to slot in. Is Tosh Bradley's just either he's going to the pin or maybe he's just getting outrighted. It just doesn't feel like he ever is going to fulfill the promise we thought as a prospect that he had. Sean Manaea, ADP of 269. Velocity is down after it went up in 2023, which isn't great, but he says his arm slot was off, so he's worked on that. I mean, it's kind of just betting that narrative is right, but Sean Manaea has been good. He's also had bad seasons and come back from it, so I do feel like if anybody can diagnose why they were terrible, Sean Manaea is the guy.
Yeah, potentially, but guys also lie to themselves, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, because right now, his spring training velocity is 88.6, and that's barely on the FM dial. You know what I'm saying? It's not great.
Is he throwing the knuckleball?
Yeah, that's his fastball velocity. And fastballs in quotes. Yeah, I mean, it's fine for a flyer. I've liked Sean Manaea for many years now, but the velocity being down is super worrisome. I don't know. I haven't drafted him yet. I've looked elsewhere when he comes up around Casey Mize is there, and I'll take Casey Mize over Sean Manaea. David Peterson's always hanging around drafts. I like David Peterson better. But yeah, I mean, Sean Manaea, if you take a flyer, hopefully his velocity bounces back by opening day.
Yeah, I was in until the velocity came in, Gray, and then it is not great. It is very early. He could figure it out. Again, I don't think it's a bad flyer. Like you said, there's other guys you can definitely take over him down here. Christian Javier might be one. He's got an ADP of 339. He was, very solid before the injury and then had another offseason of recovery, rehab. This is another player that I don't really understand why he's not going higher. I feel like the narrative of former good pitcher coming back from injury usually gets a little bit of a boost just for the upside. Maybe it's just his K rate hasn't been that good since the 2022 season, but I don't know. It feels a little low for the quality of pitcher Christian Javier has been.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he's low for at that ADP. It's low. I wouldn't be surprised if people just because people haven't seen him yet really in spring training or do anything that maybe people are waiting before they jump the gun on him. But I don't mind him if he's at 432 overall in ADP. Sure, why not? I mean, it's a flyer, but yeah, I don't expect a ton. But if he gives you a solid 75 to 90 innings, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say he can't give you 150 if we're just looking at it. I mean, he's done that, 2 years in his career. Should be healthy in theory. So yeah, I don't hate the Christian Javier flyer down here, but it is just a flyer. Like I said, I just feel like it should be higher. I should feel like it should be up with maybe like UC Kikuchi, who's at an ADP of 363. The whip's not going to be good, but the K rate is usually solid. He gives you innings. The win's probably not going to be there with the Angels, but I feel like UC Kikuchi, and I've never really drafted him, but it just feels like his ADP is just tanked this season.
Yeah, no, completely. I was kind of surprised. He was one of the guys where he's just sitting on the board forever, sitting on the war room, that is, forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can see why the war room is high on him for like 6 or 7 rounds. It's like, why? What did he do that was that bad last year? Yusei Kikuchi, that is. I mean, he was fine for a 15-team mixed league. I'm not asking him to be my ace, but as a 9th starter, or somewhere at the back end of your rotation, or your first starter on the bench or something, yeah, I'm fine with Yusei Kikuchi.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's amazing at home. So if nothing else, just start him at his home on his home starts, and that's a worthwhile pick if you just get a few home starts out of him before you got to cut him for a streamer.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Leiter, ADP of 239. Last year had 151 innings, had a 3.86 ERA, 1.28 WHIP. Again, like his velocity return, the ERA was solid. The WHIP was at least better than what it had been. I feel like the ADP usually would jump higher on a guy like this, but 240 overall feels, a very reasonable ADP to pay for him.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. I wrote a sleeper post on Jack Leiter, so I'm all in. Yeah, I mean, I would say he's 12 team mixed league and shallower. Maybe not 18, but 10 or 12 team. I would Jack Leiter looks good to me. I like him.
Yep. All right, great. Let's move on to a couple of Japanese pitchers, and that is Roki Sasaki and Kodai Senga. Senga's always giving a good whip, and the rest has been a little bit questionable at times, but the whip the ERAs are always there. And Sasaki did not really get going last year, but the stuff looks really good when he does get on the mound. What are your thoughts here on these two Japanese pitchers?
Yeah, I mean, I love them both. I loved Roki last year and Senga the year before. I'm struggling to get back in on both of them, to be honest. I think I'm taking a pass on both of them for, there's other guys who are going in drafts where they're going that I'm just more interested in. So I'm not personally drafting either of them.
Yeah, I think I'm more willing to take the shot on Senga. He was really good first half, had a little bit of an issue, and then was absolutely terrible in the second half. The hamstrings always kind of linger, so I can kind of write off the second half mentally and just take Senga for kind of what he was doing, which was actually really amazing in the first half. So I can get in on Senga. Sasaki, 271 feels like his ADP is climbing, which is not what I was thinking it was going to do. He was going later to begin the draft season. I don't know if I'm going to get in at 271. I think anything after like 320 or so, I would get in on just the skills because they are there and he could definitely, take a move in the right direction. But from what we've seen, it's hard to take him over other guys around 270. Braxton Garrett, an ADP of 359. He missed 2025 with internal brace surgery in his elbow. Is supposedly hitting 95 in spring training, which is harder than I believe he's ever thrown in the majors. And he's one of the few whip guys down here. A lot of bad whip issues down here. What are your thoughts on Braxton Garrett?
Brad, he's a guy who I've actually liked a lot in the past. For some reason, he's just not making his way onto my teams this year. I can't really point to one reason or another. He's just maybe because he's burned me in the past, but he's always had great command, and he's he's healthy according to him at least. So he could be a really good late flyer. Like he's going late enough where it's like, why not? Right. I mean, at 450 overall ADP in the last week or so. I mean, the last time he had a full season, he was excellent. Like he was really good. And I don't see, if he's healthy, I don't see why he can't do that again. Of course, there's the worry that he's not healthy. But that's, at 450 overall in ADP, I mean, everyone's got worries.
Yeah, that's why they're down there. But yeah, there's definitely some things you could take positively. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of guys who are going to give you whip and not zero strikeout rate. So I actually like Braxton Garrett quite a bit for where he's going. Brett Lauder, ADP 365. He had a forearm issue and then an oblique injury, so just kind of missed most of last season, but has looked good so far in spring training. 5 innings pitched. He has a 1.8 ERA, 0.8 WHIP. He has a 37% strikeout rate. He's going to have a spot because Hunter Green's not going to be ready for opening day. What's your thoughts on Brett Lauder or really anybody in the back end of the Cincinnati rotation?
Cincinnati's managed to put together a really nice rotation outside of outside of Singer. I mean, Brady Singer's fine. He is what he is.
He's a professional pitcher.
Yeah, professional pitcher. He's fine for like NL only if you need like innings or whatnot. I don't love him obviously, but everyone else the Reds have is fairly interesting. Brett Lauder hasn't really moved up, I don't think, as much as he should, considering Hunter Green is all but, he's off my draft sheets, and I would be surprised if we see anything legitimate from Hunter Green this year outside of like maybe a 70 innings or so. So Brett Lauder is going to be, if he gives you 120 innings, he could be really good. So I'm definitely interested in Brett Lauder. I think he's going at a great price. He's had the forearm issue, so maybe he can't stay healthy either. But everyone, we'll see. I would take the flyer on Brett Lauder for sure.
Yeah, I like the flyer there as well. And he's a guy who was a top prospect. It still is a top prospect. So. And it wasn't a serious injury. It was a forearm issue, which isn't ever great, but it wasn't why he missed the full season. He had no oblique, so it was a couple of different injuries. For some reason, that makes me feel better than one serious one. Let's move over to the bullpens, Gray, and talk about some guys you could potentially look and Sagnoff it up. Who are some guys you like here? I'm just going to let you rattle off some names as we are definitely running a bit long, but hey, that's okay.
That's the story of this podcast. A guy actually. So I was mentioning my labor league earlier, 12-team mixed league, so pretty shallow. And I got Clayton Beeter in the free rounds, so I got him for free. He looks really good as potential for. He's with Washington. He's a Nationals potential Nationals closer. Should be the Nationals closer. I'll say that. And he looks like, he looks solid. You were one that actually alerted me to how good Beater's peripherals were on our last show. And I agree now. I'm in. I like Beater. I'm fine with him. You're right. His peripherals do look good, and there's no one else really that's going to give him much of a competition. So I would be surprised if he doesn't get the majority of the saves. And even on a bad team, saves are saves. Sagnoff, if he gets 25 saves, great. Will Vest is currently, going probably earlier. Well, not earlier, but if it's a draft and hold, Will Vest is fine. I have full confidence in Kenley Jansen though for 5 of 6 months. Like sure he'll miss a month randomly in the middle of the season, and Will Vest will get like the saves during that 1 month. But for the most part, Will Vest is he's just a setup man for Kenley Jansen. So it's fine, I guess, but I don't know. A guy who I'm actually actively drafting, probably even before his ADP, is Robert Garcia. I think he's the Texas closer. I would be kind of surprised if he's not. The only thing really going against him is he's a lefty, but otherwise, I think Robert Garcia is not only is he going to be the closer, I think he's going to be really good. I would be shocked if he's he had a 2.95 ERA last year. The peripherals were a little iffy, but a 9.6 K per nine. I mean, a little over a 3 walk rate. So, it's a little hinky in there, but still, I think Robert Garcia could chuck in 25 saves and have decent peripherals. And then finally, a guy who I think is going a little bit earlier than I think he should is Brian Abreu. Like Josh Hader is the closer if he's healthy. So, I know he's not healthy right this second, but the season's long. Maybe Brian Abreu gets 8 to 10 saves, but to be going in front of Robert Garcia or Clayton Beeter or even Taylor Rogers, who I imagine is going to get more saves than Brian Abreu. Brian Abreu is going to be excellent setup man. He's not going to be the closer if Hader's healthy, and Hader's been throwing. He's going to, I don't know. Unless Hader's really injured, I think Abreu is just going to be a very good setup man.
Yeah, it feels like that ADP is maybe guys who draft Hader and then move up Abreu just to make sure you get him, or a little bit of spike drafting so that the Hader guy doesn't get Abreu. That also definitely happens. I'm with you. I feel like Abreu is going a little too early, and even when I'm willing to draft him because I have got Hader in a draft or two, he still goes well before I have him scheduled, even with me moving him up. So it's probably just a guy I'm just not going to have. And if I have Hader, I'm going to draft one of these other guys we've talked about, because I do believe, Beeter, Garcia, Rogers, they're all the closer there. Why wouldn't I grab them, at some point in the draft? And the fact that they're going after several setup men seems kind of crazy, honestly, because at the end of the day, setup men gave you great ratios, but limited innings in that, and saves is really what you want out of closers, because it's either that or you get the random relief pitchers who get you wins, but that's so random, and you just kind of find that in season.
Yeah.
Let's talk about IL stashes, Gray. Who are you potentially grabbing and putting away for the rainy day down the road?
Well, I'm not really a huge IL stasher.
Yeah, you do a lot of NFBC, but for those of us in other places or large IL.
Right. I was going to say, in NFBC, there is no IL. So that's why I haven't really done it thus far. And I don't tend to do it even in leagues where there are, IL slots, because, I feel like a lot of times you'll stash someone say Spencer Schwellenbach, and then you'll get to April and your shortstop goes down with an injury and you need an IL slot. And it's well, what would I draft Schwellenbach for? Of course I'm dropping Schwellenbach. If you need the slot, it's, goodbye to Schwellenbach. So I don't love them. I don't love the IL stashes that much, but I will say I'm kind of surprised Garrett Cole is going as late as he is. I think that has a lot to do with NFBC ADP, because there is no IL slots there. So Garrett Cole is going later there because there's nowhere to stash him. I think Garrett Cole is a decent IL stash. I think, I wouldn't push him up that high, but he's going at 250. I'd probably take him at 200 if I had an IL slot. Garrett Cole should be as good as Garrett Cole usually is only for, maybe 80 to 100 innings this year, but still that's 80 to 100 innings is worth an IL stash. And then, there's no one else really that comes to mind that I would be crazy about stashing. I mean, I know there's like Carlos Rodon is out there. I don't know. I said don't draft Carlos Rodon in my rankings. I'm not a believer in a guy who's, he's got issues coming into spring training. He's pushed back. Things are not looking great. I'm not really stashing them. So I like Garrett Cole though, if I was going to stash anyone.
Yeah, I like Cole as a pick. I mean, Hunter Green is one now because we don't have information yet on what's going on. We've been given some vague anecdotes, which got handed out directly after I drafted him, of course. So that's always super fun. But we've already talked about that. Yeah, I like Rodon. Bieber should be back at some point. Like it's probably not too late in theory if he doesn't have yet another setback. I mean, there's a number of guys out there who are going to start the season on the IL that you can grab. Edwin Uceda, I like him as he should in theory be the closer when he comes back. So it's a way to kind of just get cheap saves for the end of the season. But yeah, if you're looking at the IL spot, a lot of them go before 200. So like Zach Wheeler typically goes before I don't know if Blake Snell's going to continue to go before 200, but his ADP is still above 200. Same with Glasnow. There's a few guys who will probably start on the IL that we are not talking about, but again, they're before 200 currently. That's all we're going to talk about this week, Gray. If you have specific questions out there, you can find us on X. I am at RazBeaton. Gray is at Razball. You can find us on youtube.com/RazballFantasy or in the comment section on Razball.com. Until next week, Gray, I'll talk to you later.
All right, Lates.